The sky was dark. The wind was cold. Metal sheets rattled as the night crept into the junkyard. Rusty machines, broken wires, and crushed starship parts were scattered everywhere like forgotten memories. In the middle of this garbage, something moved. It wasn't a rat. It wasn't a machine. It was a girl. Her skin was smooth, but covered in dirt and oil. Her silver hair was tangled with broken wires. Her body was thin, too thin. And she wore nothing, not a thread of clothing. Just pieces of trash sticking to her, hiding nothing. Her body shook from the cold, and her face was buried in her arms. She had been thrown away, like junk. She wasn't human. Her ears were long. Her eyes glowed faintly under the moonlight. But she was breathing, alive and crying silently. The garbage around her smelled of burnt plastic, rotting food, and engine oil. Every time the wind blew, more trash fell on her. A banana peel, a metal pipe, a ripped boot. It didn't matter. She didn't move. She had stopped hoping she had been tossed out here hours ago. Her captors had laughed before flying away, leaving her naked and broken under the sky. They didn't care if she lived. They didn't care if she died, and she didn't know if she wanted to live anymore. Her mind was filled with shame. Her body hurt. Her soul felt empty. Until a light, a dim flashlight beam flickered from far away, cutting through the darkness. Boots stepped over garbage. Someone was coming. She didn't lift her head. She was too weak, too scared. The light stopped near her. A voice spoke. "Hello? Are you alive?" It was a human voice. A man. She opened her eyes just a little, just enough to see him. He was young, maybe mid-20s, with a rough jacket and a scarf around his neck. His boots were old. His hands were dirty. But his eyes were kind. He stared at her, frozen for a moment. Then he slowly knelt down. "Not too close. I won't hurt you," he said softly. Still, she didn't speak. He noticed she had no clothes. His face showed shock, then anger, not at her, but at whoever had done this. He looked around for something, found a long brown cloak in his bag, and gently laid it over her shoulders. She flinched. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe now, I promise." The warmth of the cloth felt strange. After the freezing air, it felt like fire on her skin. But she didn't push it away. She simply wrapped it tighter around herself slowly. "Can you walk?" he asked. She looked at him with fear and confusion. Her lips parted, but no words came. He held out his hand, not to grab, just to offer. "I'm Jace," he said, "a scrapper. I come here to collect broken parts. I never thought I'd find someone like you." Her hands trembled as she reached toward him. She didn't take his hand, but she sat up slowly, with great effort. She stood on shaky legs. The cloak dragged behind her. Jace kept his distance, letting her move at her own pace. "We're not far from my shuttle," he said. "It's warm. There's food, water. You need help." She didn't answer, but she followed. Step by step, the garbage shifted under their feet. Drones passed overhead, but none noticed them. The junkyard was quiet except for the wind and the sound of two lost souls moving through it. As they walked, Jace kept glancing back at her. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know where she came from. But something in her eyes, those deep, glowing eyes, said she had suffered more than he could ever understand. He led her to a broken-down cargo shuttle. The door hissed open. It was small, old, and full of wires and spare parts. But it was safe. He stepped inside, turned on a small heater, and lit a lamp. She stood at the door, unsure. "You can come in," he said. "You don't have to be afraid." She looked around, like a trapped animal, then slowly entered. He handed her a metal cup of water. She stared at it, then drank quickly, too quickly. Water spilled from her lips. But Jace didn't laugh. He just watched, heart heavy. She was starving. She was cold. She was alone. He wanted to help her. but he didn't know how. Do you have a name? He asked. She didn't reply. Maybe she had forgotten. Or maybe she wasn't ready to remember. Jace sighed and sat down near the heater. He didn't press her. He didn't ask more questions. He just let her be. And in that quiet moment, wrapped in an old cloak, sitting near a heater inside a rusty shuttle, the alien girl finally closed her eyes. And for the first time in days, maybe weeks, she didn't feel like garbage. The rain began just after midnight. It wasn't loud. Just soft drops tapping against the roof of the old shuttle. Inside, the air was warmer now, but the silence felt heavy. The alien girl sat in a corner, still wrapped in the brown cloak Jace had given her. Her glowing eyes flicked toward every sound, every creak of metal, every gust of wind, every beep from the control panel. She didn't trust this place yet. She didn't trust him. Jace didn't sleep either. He sat on the floor across from her, leaning against the wall with a half-eaten protein bar in his hand. His flashlight lay beside him, pointing downward. He didn't want to scare her with too much light. She already looked like she had seen too much pain. He had questions. So many. But he stayed quiet. Let her breathe. Let her feel safe. But even then, she looked like a bird ready to fly at the slightest move. "Hey," he said gently. "I thought you might want this." He slid a small package across the floor. Dried fruits, sealed in a clear wrap. Nothing fancy, but better than starving. She didn't move at first. Just stared. Then slowly, her hand reached out, fast-like a reflex, snatching the packet back into the folds of the cloak. She opened it carefully and started chewing without lifting her eyes. "Good," Jace said softly. "You need food. You looked like you hadn't eaten in days." No answer, just chewing. No blinking. Only eyes watching him like he was a stranger with a knife. Jace sighed. "I don't know who you are, or what you went through, but I won't hurt you." She kept chewing, but her body was still tense. "Try it again. I'm just a junk scrapper. My ship broke down a week ago. I've been picking old parts, trying to fix it. Then I saw you." That made her stop. She looked at him now fully. Her glowing eyes locked on his face, searching. Her voice came out like a whisper, broken and low. "You saw?" "Nothing," Jace blinked. "What? You saw nothing," she said again, this time louder. She was afraid not of him, but of being seen. Like her shame would return if anyone remembered what she looked like in that junk pile. Jace shook his head. "No, I didn't see garbage. I saw a person, cold, alone, and in pain." Her breath caught, then silence again, until she whispered, "They called me property." Jace's fists tightened. "Who did?" Her head lowered. "Slavers. They bought me, then broke me, then tossed me." She trembled as the words fell from her lips like poison. She hadn't spoken to anyone in days, maybe weeks. Now that it had started, she couldn't stop. "They said I was defective, weak, not worth feeding. So they dumped me out of junk world. They didn't even give me clothes." Her voice cracked at the last word. Jace didn't speak. His heart was pounding. The pain in her voice was deeper than he imagined. She had been thrown away like broken tech, but she was alive. She was still here, and she was finally speaking. He pushed himself forward just a little, careful not to startle her. "You're not defective, and you're not property." She looked at him again, her eyes full of doubt. "You don't know what I am," she whispered. "Then tell me." Her lips pressed together. She shook her head. "No, then I'll wait." Jace leaned back again and pulled out a small energy pod. He powered up the shuttle's heating vents just a little more, warming the air. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. The girl stared at him for a long time. Something changed in her eyes, not full trust, but something softer. Like a wall. Inside her had cracked just a bit. "I don't remember my real name," she said quietly. "But they called me Unit 9 Beta." Jace nodded. "Well, I don't like that name." Mind if I call you something else? She tilted her head. Unsure. How about Lyra? He offered. It's a star, quiet but bright, like you. She blinked. The word Lyra echoed in her mind like a new beginning. Okay, she said. It was small. Just one word. But to Jace, it felt like the whole galaxy shifted. He smiled. For the first time that night, nice to meet you, Lyra. And for the first time, she didn't look away. The small shuttle groaned as heavy winds pushed against its rusted frame. Rain hit the windows like soft tapping claws. Inside, the heater worked hard to keep the cold away, humming like a tired machine. But the warmth in the room couldn't reach the fear inside the alien girl's heart. Her name now was Lyra, at least. That's what Jace had offered her. But names didn't build trust. Not after what she had suffered. She sat on the edge of a metal crate, wrapped tight in the same brown cloak. Her eyes scanned every corner of the room. She didn't touch anything. Didn't move unless she had to. Like one wrong step would set off a trap. Jace kept his distance. He understood. Some wounds weren't on the skin. They were deeper. He worked quietly near the wall, connecting wires to a broken console. Sparks flew. The power flickered, then returned. He didn't look at her, but he spoke. You slept for 2 hours. That's something. Lyra didn't answer. He tried again. I fixed part of the comm panel. Still no signal, but I'll try again in the morning. Still no reply, then. Slowly she asked, Why are you helping me? Jace turned. The question wasn't simple. It was sharp, like a blade made of sorrow. He thought for a moment before answering. Because no one helped me when I needed it. Long ago, Lyra tilted her head. I was a kid. My family crashed on a mining moon. Pirates took the supplies. My parents died. I barely survived. I waited days in the dust until a trader found me. He didn't ask questions. He just saved me. Now Lyra stared at him. Her lips parted, unsure what to say. Jace added quietly, I never forgot what it felt. Like to be left behind. Silence filled the room. Then, a quiet sound click, click, click. Lyra was tapping her fingers on her knees. A nervous habit. She didn't even know she was doing it. Do you think I'm dangerous? She asked, voice shaking. Jace paused. Do you want to hurt me? No. Then I don't think you're dangerous. She blinked. No one had ever said that before. They used to call me dirty tech, said I was. Not real, not pureburn. I don't even know what I am anymore. Jace stood slowly and reached for a box. He opened it and took out something soft gray cloth. A shirt and pants, simple but clean. I think you're a person who deserves better, he said, placing the clothes on the table and stepping back. Lyra looked at the clothes like they were made of gold. She walked over slowly, touched the fabric. Her hands trembled. You're giving these to me? Yes, you don't have to wear trash anymore. Her voice cracked. Thank you. She turned away and dressed behind a hanging curtain. Jace didn't peek. He sat back down and focused on tightening a bolt. His hands were steady, but inside, something stirred. He didn't know what this girl had been through. But the way she moved, the way she flinched, it told a story of fear, of shame, of being treated like nothing. She returned a few minutes later. The clothes were a bit big, but they covered her well. She hugged the cloak around her again. More out of habit than need. You look better, Jace said with a soft smile. She nodded, then sat again. This time, closer than before. Still far, but closer. He handed her a small bowl of hot soup. She took it, slowly, carefully. She sipped. It was the first warm food she'd had in days. Maybe longer. Her eyes closed as the taste hit her tongue. A tear rolled down her cheek. Jace pretended not to see it. She opened her eyes and whispered, I don't know how to be around people anymore. You don't have to rush it, Jace said gently. Just stay, heal, breathe. Lyra looked at him. Again. This time, not with fear, but with something else. Something like hope. For the first time since waking up in the junkyard, she didn't feel like she was waiting to die. She felt almost human. Asterisk. The third night in the shuttle was different. The wind had stopped. The rain had passed. But something strange moved in the air. Jace noticed it first. The heater flickered even though the energy cells were full. The lights dimmed, then returned twice. The metal floor under his boots gave a soft hum, like a vibration too low to hear but strong enough to feel in his bones. And then, Lyra screamed. It wasn't a loud scream. Not like someone hurt by fire or fear. It was a scream of memory. Of something buried too long. Jace rushed toward her corner of the shuttle. She was curled in a tight ball, her face hidden, arms glowing faint blue, symbols pulsing across her skin. Lyra! She didn't hear him. She was somewhere else. In a nightmare. Her breath came fast. Her hands were shaking. Her body was glowing brighter now, as if her very blood was charged with energy. Jace hesitated. He had never seen anything like this. She looked like a human, and yet this was not human. Her skin was lighting up with strange patterns, like ancient code. Her hair floated slightly above her shoulders, lifted by invisible energy. The air around her cracked softly, like tiny sparks of electricity were being born and dying again. Then suddenly, boom! The lights exploded. Darkness swallowed the shuttle. And then silence. Total silence. Jace reached into his bag, heart racing, and turned on a small emergency light. The glow spread across the room, and he saw her. Lyra was no longer glowing. She sat there, shivering, her face soaked in tears. "Don't come near me," she whispered. Jace stepped closer anyway. I said don't. But he didn't stop. He knelt down beside her, gently placed a blanket over her shoulders. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. She looked at him with wide, terrified eyes. "You should be." Her voice trembled. Her body shook. "There's something inside me. Something made. They built it. I don't know what it does. Sometimes it sleeps. Sometimes it wakes. When I lose control, things break. People get hurt. That's why they called me defective." Jace was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Do you want to hurt people?" "No," she cried. "Never." "Then it's not your fault." Lyra's breath caught. "You don't understand. They didn't just build me for beauty or work. They built me to carry something." "Carry what?" She shook her head. "I don't know. All I remember is voices, machines, needles, cold, hands touching my skin, scanning my thoughts. And always the same words. Activate only under threat. Destroy if uncontrolled." Jace stared at her, stunned. She wasn't just an alien girl thrown in the trash. She was an experiment, a weapon, a secret project. Someone had wanted to forget, but she was also shaking in a corner, scared of herself, scared of hurting others, scared of being hurt again. "Look at me, Lyra," Jace said softly. She looked up. "You're not dangerous. You're scared. There's a difference. No one's ever said that to me. Well, maybe they were all wrong." She laughed, but it was a broken laugh, a painful sound. She wiped her face quickly. "I don't remember my parents. I don't even know if I had any. Just tubes. Cold walls, commands. And now?" She paused. "I don't know. I feel something new. Something warm, but it's strange. And it scares me more than anything else." Jace nodded. "That's what trust feels like. It comes slow, but it stays long." Outside, the wind began again, but inside, something stronger had awakened. Not just the energy inside Lyra, but something else. Something human. She wasn't just a weapon. She wasn't just broken tech. She was becoming something new. And deep in the shadows far away from the junkyard, a silent drone lit up with red eyes. It had received a signal from the energy burst. And now it knew where to find her. She had activated. They were coming. The junkyard slept, but the stars did not. High above the garbage world, a silent shadow cut through the sky. No lights, no signal, just a black ship like a scar across space. Inside it, two beings sat still. Their armor was dark gray, smooth, and cold. Their faces were hidden behind smooth masks. No names, no words. Only a signal flashing on their screen, a pulse of alien energy. One message blinked over and over. Unit 9 Beta, activated. They didn't speak, they just moved. Down below, the wind howled through towers of metal scrap. The stench of oil and rust choked the night. Jace didn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. His hands worked slowly, checking the shuttle's power lines for the third time. Lyra was asleep on the cot now. Her face looked peaceful, but her body was tense even in rest. She held the cloak close, and her legs were curled up like she was still hiding from the cold. Suddenly beep. JACE single quotes S scanner lit up. Motion alert. 50 meters out. Too smooth for a rodent. Too fast for a drone. He grabbed his goggles and stepped outside into the dark. Switching the lens to thermal view. 2 heat signatures. Human size. Moving fast, and they weren't walking. They were gliding. Jace froze. This wasn't a rescue team. This was a hunt. He ran back into the shuttle. Lyra! Wake up! She jolted upright, eyes wide. What is it? They're here. Someone tracked your signal. No, she whispered. Not already. Do you know who they are? She nodded slowly, fear rising in her eyes. Retrieval. Agents. If I'm active, they think I'm dangerous. They'll take me or kill me. They don't ask questions. Jace grabbed his old blaster from a drawer and tossed her a small shock pod. Then we don't let them ask. But you'll die if you fight them. I've got scrap. I've got tricks. Let them come. She stared at him like he was insane. No one had ever fought for her. No one had ever chosen to stand between her and danger. Now, someone was. Outside, the hunters landed. No noise. No flash. Just 2 dark shapes slipping through the shadows like ghosts. Their weapons hummed energy-based, high precision. Built for clean kills, no blood. No mess. Inside the shuttle, Jace activated an emergency shield on the outer wall. A weak field sparked to life, just enough to delay entry. He turned to Lyra. They'll breach in minutes. You have to hide. I'm not leaving you, she said. You're not ready to fight. I'm not ready to lose you either. There. Eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them. Outside, crack. The door burst halfway open, the shield breaking in a shower of sparks. A voice echoed from the darkness. Robotic, cold. Unit 9 Beta, step forward. Your activation is unauthorized. Submit or be terminated. Lyra stepped out from the shadows. You always treat us like machines, but we feel, we bleed, we remember. Jace whispered, stay behind me. The first hunter raised his weapon. Too late. Jace had already pulled the trigger. Boom. The scrap he'd rigged exploded, throwing the hunter backward into a pile of steel beams. The second hunter fired, but Lyra's hands were already glowing. She raised them. A blast of blue light burst from her palms. Not fire, not electricity, something new. It bent the walls, cracked the air. The second hunter dropped his weapon and collapsed, twitching. Then silence. Just the sound of metal raining down. JSCE coughed. What was that? I don't know, she said, breathing hard. But it listens when I feel. He looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't a weapon. She was awakening. Are there more? She asked. JACE checked the scanner. Maybe. If they sent 2, they'll send more. Then we can't stay here. He nodded. We run at dawn. No, she said firmly. We fight at dawn. If we have to. And for the first time, Lyra didn't just look like someone who had been rescued. She looked like someone ready to rise. The sun hadn't risen yet, but warhead smoke drifted over the junkyard like a ghost. 2 broken hunter drones lay scattered outside the shuttle. Their black armor cracked open. Wires sparked. One mask still glowed red, then faded. Inside the shuttle, Jace packed fast. Tools, energy pods, medkits, anything that could help. His hands moved with urgency, but his eyes kept drifting back to her. Lyra stood in silence. Her new clothes were dirty. Her hair messy, but her face, it had changed. No longer just scared, no longer hiding. She stood straight, watching the horizon. Like someone expecting a storm. "They'll send more," she said quietly. "They always do," Jace nodded. "Then let's be ready." She turned to him. "You don't have to do this. You can run. You didn't ask for this." He zipped his bag and looked at her firmly. "You didn't ask to be thrown away, either. But you're still here, and so am I." He paused, then added with a dry smile, "Besides, I'm stubborn." Lyra laughed softly. "Just once." But it was real. Outside, the warning scanner beeped. 6 more signals, closing in fast. Too many for a fight. Jace bit his lip. "We won't win head on." Lyra looked around the junkyard. "Then we don't fight them head on." Jace raised an eyebrow. "You have a plan?" She nodded. "They trained me to read structures, weak points, energy flows. I can see where things break." Jace blinked. "You're a walking engineer." She smirked. "Something like that." In the next 10 minutes, they turned the junkyard into a trap. Old engines became bombs. Loose metal became walls. Wires stretched between towers like nets. And Lyra, she walked through the chaos like it was home. She guided Jace's hands, told him where to place charges, where to draw them in. She was calm, focused, sharp. Not a scared girl anymore. A survivor, a fighter. As the sun began to rise, shadows dropped from the sky. 6 new hunters landed. Bigger, heavier, armored. They moved in silence, scanning the area. Then came the voice. Again, this time louder, deeper. "Unit 9 Beta, your abilities are unstable. Your existence violates protocol. You are to be neutralized." Lyra stepped out from behind a wall of crushed shuttle parts. "No," she said clearly. "Not today." The lead hunter raised a weapon, but before it could fire, boom, Jace triggered the first blast. The left side of the yard exploded in flame, sending 2 hunters flying into the scrap piles. The others spread out, but the nets snapped. Down. Sparks burst everywhere. 1 hunter tripped. Another lost its weapon. Lyra ran forward, eyes glowing. Her hands surged with that same strange energy, pure, powerful, focused. She aimed it not to kill, but to break the armor. To free herself from their fear. And Jace? He fought beside her. Swinging metal pipes, throwing shock bombs, diving into danger without hesitation. 1 hunter grabbed him by the throat. Lyra screamed, and the ground cracked beneath her feet. She released a wave of light so bright it turned the sky white for a moment. When the light faded, the hunter lay in pieces, and Jace was coughing on the ground, but alive. He looked at her, stunned. "You're like a walking star." She ran to him and helped him up. "You said you wouldn't leave me. I meant it." And then the last hunter, injured, sparking, limping, looked at her. "This is not over." Lyra's voice was cold and strong. "You're right. It's just beginning." She fired 1 last pulse, and the hunter collapsed. Then, silence. The wind returned. Soft, gentle. The junkyard was quiet again, but something big had changed. Lyra stood in the middle of the battlefield, her body trembling, not from fear, but from power she had finally accepted. And beside her, Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're free now," he said softly. She turned to him. "No, we are." The sun finally rose, but this sunrise felt different. It was not just the light that changed the world, It was her. Lyra stood at the edge of the junkyard, looking out across the metal hills and broken machines. Her skin still held traces of glowing patterns, but they had faded into soft blue lines like ancient stories, gently written across her body. She was no longer the girl buried in garbage, no longer the defective unit. No longer property, she was alive, and she was free, behind her. Jace finished packing supplies into a new hover cart. The shuttle was damaged beyond repair, but he didn't seem bothered. He looked lighter, like a man who had finally done something that truly mattered. "You sure you want to leave this place?" he asked. Lyra didn't turn around yet. She closed her eyes and let the wind touch her face. "I died here once," she whispered, "when they threw me away. But someone helped me rise." Jace smiled. "I just gave you a coat." "No," she said, turning to him. "You gave me something no machine ever did. A choice." They walked together toward the edge of the junk field. The air shimmered as they passed the last pile of twisted metal. Jace checked the map on his wristband. "Nearest outpost is a few miles west. If we walk, we'll be there by nightfall." Lyra glanced at him. "And after that?" "We find a place to live, somewhere quiet." She tilted her head. "And what if I'm still hunted?" "Then we keep walking," Jace said. "We fight when we must. We hide when we can. But we never go backward." She nodded, then paused. "There's something I haven't told you." Jace stopped. "What is it?" She looked down at her hands. "They didn't just build me to hold energy. I was made to hold knowledge, data, maps, codes, secrets, from planets even humans haven't explored." Jace's eyes widened. "You're carrying that inside you?" She nodded. "That's why they wanted to erase me. I wasn't supposed to wake up with memories." Jace whistled. "That explains the glowing." She chuckled softly, but her face turned serious again. "I could run forever, but I think I want to build something now, something of my own." He stepped closer. "Then let's build it together." Her eyes met his. She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small silver chip, thin as a feather, almost invisible. "What's that?" he asked. "A star map," she replied. "To a place not marked on any human chart. A place where they created me, and maybe others like me." Jace nodded slowly. "You want to go back?" "I want to make sure no one else wakes up alone. In chains, in the dark." He reached out and gently closed her fingers around the chip. "Then let's make that your mission." She smiled. Not a small one, a full smile, one that lit up her whole face, like dawn breaking over a forgotten world. They began walking. The junkyard behind them faded into silence. No ships followed. No hunters rose. Just two figures, one human, one alien, moving forward under the sun. Together. Somewhere far away. Inside a quiet control room on a space station. A red light blinked. A technician tapped the screen. "Sir, the signal from Unit 9 Beta is gone." The commander frowned. "Destroyed?" "No, blocked, disappeared." The commander stared into space. "Let it go," he said. "She's out of our hands now, back on the junk world." Lyra and Jace reached a tall hill of broken engines. She stopped to catch her breath. From the top she could see everything. The garbage, the sky, the ruins of what was, and the path ahead. She reached out her hand. Jace took it. And together, they walked into the light, not as savior and saved, not as machine and master, but as equals. And somewhere deep inside her chest, under metal and memory, her heart beat like it never beaten before, like it finally belonged to her.